I'm about to tell you something I can't tell my own daughter. At her wedding, I fell for the groom's mother. We're together now, secretly, and it started with one dance.
This is Michael Tells, and this is Recorded for Me. If you're new here, people send me the stories they can't say out loud to anyone in their own life. They just talk into their phone late at night, and they send it to me, and we listen together. The message you're about to hear came in at 1 a.m. It's from a man named Ray, 58 years old, a widower, a man who, in his own words, had quietly made peace with never feeling much of anything again. And then something happened at his own daughter's wedding, something he has not been able to tell a single person in his life. So find somewhere comfortable, and let's listen to this one the way he meant it to be heard. Here's Ray.
Nobody knows what I'm about to tell you. Not my daughter, not her husband, not one friend. 3 months ago, I danced one dance with the mother of the groom, and I've been secretly, impossibly happy ever since. Sorry, let me start over. Hey Michael, it's 1 a.m, and I'm sitting in my truck in my own driveway because I've got a thing in my chest I have carried around for 3 months, and there is not one person on this earth I'm allowed to say it to. And you said people could just talk, record it, send it. So, here I am. My name's Ray. I'm 58, and I need to tell somebody that I'm happy, because keeping happy a secret turns out to be its own kind of lonely. And I didn't know that until now. Let me back all the way up. My wife's name was Diane. She passed 4 years ago this spring. Cancer, the slow kind. The kind that gives you time to say everything, and then takes so long you run out of things to say and just sit there holding hands. And after she was gone, I didn't fall apart the way people expect. I just went grey. You know that thing people say, the light went out? It wasn't that dramatic. It was more like somebody turned the colour down on the TV. Everything still worked. I went to work, I mowed the lawn, I called my daughter on Sundays. I just did it all in this flat, grey way. And I figured, all right, that's the deal now. You had your good years, you had the love of your life, and now you keep the lights on and you don't complain. 4 years of grey. And I'd made my peace with it. I really had. So, my daughter, Emma. She's 29. She's the best thing I ever did with my life. And 3 months ago, she married a young man named Daniel. Good kid. Steady. Looks at her the way I used to look at her mother, which is about the only reference I've got for whether a man's serious. No complaints there. None. Now, Daniel's mother, Lynn. And I want to be honest about this part because it matters. I knew Lynn already, sort of. The kids had been together almost 3 years before the wedding, so I'd met her a handful of times. A backyard barbecue, the engagement dinner, some lunch where both families sat there pretending we'd all been friends for years. But you know how that goes. You shake the hand, you say, "So good to finally meet you." You talk about the traffic on the way in, and then you go stand with your own people. I could not have told you one true thing about that woman. She was just the other side. Daniel's mum. A face at the barbecue. 3 years, Michael. She was in my life 3 years, and I never once looked twice. The wedding was out at a vineyard about an hour north. Warm evening, string lights, the whole picture. And I gave the father of the bride speech. And I want you to know, I did not cry. Personal record. I even got a laugh. And I sat down feeling like I'd carried the flag across the finish line for Diane. Like, see honey, I got our girl there. We did it. And then I sat back down and realised I had nobody to say that to. That's the part nobody warns you about. It's not the empty side of the bed. It's the moments that are only worth anything if there's a second person who knows exactly what they cost. I turned to say something to Diane, and there was just a chair. And then they played the dance. You know the one. Late in the night, the DJ gets on the mic and he goes, "All right, we'd like to invite all the couples out onto the floor." Slow song. And everybody pairs off. The married ones, the old ones, the young ones, and the floor fills up. And I'm standing there at the edge with a drink in my hand. because I don't have a partner anymore. And I look across the floor, and there's Lynn, standing at the other edge, by herself, for the exact same reason. The two widowed ones, the odd ones out. And there was this moment where we just looked at each other across all these swaying couples, and we both knew precisely what the other one was thinking, which was, God, I hate this song, and I hate standing here being the person people feel sorry for. And I don't know what got into me. I really don't. But I put my drink down, and I walked across that floor, and I put my hand out, and I said, come on, let's not give them the satisfaction of watching us stand here alone. And she laughed, and she took my hand. Michael, I hadn't danced with anyone since Diane got sick. I didn't know where to put my hands. She didn't either. We were stiff as two boards. We made small talk that died about 4 seconds in, and I stepped on her foot. I actually stepped on her foot, 58 years old. And then somewhere in the middle of that song, we both just stopped talking and stopped being awkward. And it got quiet between us in this way that wasn't uncomfortable at all. And I felt her hand settle on my back. And I thought, clear as day, I remember thinking it. Oh, there you are. Where have you been? 3 minutes. That's all it was. And when the song ended, neither one of us let go right away. Just that half a second too long. And she looked up at me, and I looked at her. This woman I'd met 6 times and never once actually seen. And something passed between us that I did not have a word for. Still don't really. And then the song was over, and everybody clapped, and we stepped apart and went back to being the bride's dad and the groom's mum. Because that's what you do. And nobody at that wedding thought a single thing about it. 2 lonely in-laws sharing a slow dance so they wouldn't have to stand there alone, completely invisible. Which, it turns out, is exactly what let us hide the rest of it later. I texted her 3 days after the wedding. Had a reason, some story about the caterer sending me a receipt that should have gone to her, which was true, but I could have just forwarded it. I didn't. I wrote 4 paragraphs, and she wrote 5 back. And we told ourselves it was coffee. Just coffee. 2 people who get it. 2 people who've buried a spouse, who don't flinch when you talk about the real stuff, the ugly parts of watching someone go. We told ourselves it was grief keeping grief company. We were lying. We knew we were lying by the second coffee. By the third one, I reached across the table and I held her hand, and neither of us pretended anymore. And I'm not going to sit here and give you a play-by-play, but I'll tell you the truth of it. I fell in love at 58 with the last woman on earth I was supposed to. And it's not the wild young kind. It's better than that. It's the kind where you already know exactly how much it costs to lose somebody, so you don't waste a minute of it. She makes me laugh in the grocery store. I know how she takes her coffee. The colour came back on the TV, Michael. All the way back. We are, as of right now, together. Really together. The better part of 3 months now. And not one living soul knows. Here's why. And I need you to hear that it's not shame. I'm not ashamed of her. God, no. It's the kids. Think about what it does to them. Emma and Daniel have been married 3 months. 3 months. It's supposed to be their year. The first one. The one where it's all about them. And if Lynn and I walk in and go, so, funny thing, we're a couple now, we hijack it. Their whole beginning becomes about the parents. And worse, I know my Emma. She'd smile and say she's happy for me, and then somewhere quiet, she'd wonder if her own wedding was where her father went shopping. I can't let her carry that. I won't. And there's the other thing, the thing I lie awake on. Because Lynn and I aren't 2 strangers who can just break up and disappear if it goes wrong. Her son is my son-in-law. If this ends badly, we don't get to walk away. We're chained to the same Thanksgiving table for the rest of our lives. Same Christmases. Someday, the same grandkids' birthdays. So we told each other, let's be sure. Dead sure. Before we drop something on those kids that can never be undropped. Let's know it's real before we make it their problem. So we hide. Two grown adults, 58 and 61, sneaking around like teenagers. And I want to tell you it's romantic, but a lot of it is just ridiculous. We take separate cars. We don't go to the restaurants in our own towns because everybody knows everybody. She parks around the back. I've turned my phone face down at family dinners, like a man having an affair, except I'm not. She's not married, nobody's cheating, and we still feel like criminals. The absurdity of it. Grown people. And the family stuff. Michael, the family stuff is the hardest thing I've ever done, sober. We've had 2 dinners with the kids since. 2. And I have to sit across a table from this woman and call her Lynn and pass her the potatoes and ask about her drive. The morning after she was asleep on my shoulder on my couch. I have to be polite and distant to the person I'm closest to in the world in front of the 2 people we're doing all this to protect. One time she said something dry under her breath. Nobody else caught it, and I nearly lost it laughing, and I had to fake a coughing fit and leave the table. I stood in Emma's kitchen gripping the counter, terrified and grinning like a fool. And it almost came apart once. At the second dinner, Emma tilted her head and said, "You two are getting along a lot better than you used to. Just an offhand thing. Sweet, even." And my heart went straight through the floor. And Lynn, cool as anything, she just laughed and said, "Well, we're the only 2 who know how much this wedding cost." Got a laugh, changed the subject. But I felt the ground move under us. And in the truck afterward, my hands were shaking because I realized we can't do this forever. That's not a plan. It's a held breath. So that's where I am. Happier than I've been in a decade, and I can't post a picture. Can't tell my oldest friend. Can't hold her hand anywhere somebody might see us. The best thing in my life, and I have to keep it hidden. And some nights that's a strange, thin kind of happy. When you can't tell a single soul, you almost start to wonder if it's really happening at all. I know how it ends, if I'm honest. Not badly. I don't think it ends badly. I think it ends with the 2 of us finally sitting those kids down. And that scene scares me more than anything has scared me since I stood at Diane's bed. Because there's no gentle way to say it. Remember your wedding? Remember that little dance? Well, and I don't know if Emma cries or laughs or feels like something was taken from her. I genuinely don't know. And until I do, I can't make myself do it. But I'll tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to give her up. I did 4 years of grey. I know exactly what the alternative is. And no amount of awkward Thanksgivings is worth going back to a house with the colour turned off. So we'll keep holding our breath a little longer. And one of these days we'll let it out. And we'll find out what our kids are made of.
I hope it's the good stuff. I raised her to be the good stuff. Anyway,
That's mine. I needed one person in the world to know that I'm happy. That the old man found something. Even if it's you, a stranger, at 1 a.m.
it turns out you can't hold a thing this big all by yourself. It gets too heavy. Saying it out loud doesn't fix anything, but God, it's lighter now. So, thank you for that. I'll let you go. It's late, and I've got a woman to keep a secret for. Talk soon, Michael.
That was Ray. And I've been sitting with his message for a while now, because I'm not sure it's the story I thought it was. On the surface, it's a secret. 2 people hiding something. But listen to what he's actually hiding. He's not hiding an affair. He's not hiding a lie. He's hiding the fact that he's happy. Think about that. A man so afraid of what his joy might cost the people he loves that he keeps the best thing in his life locked away where no one can see it. And I keep coming back to that dance. 2 people standing alone at the edge of a room full of couples, and one of them decides not to stand there alone anymore. That's it. That's the whole beginning. Sometimes a life turns on something that small. I don't know if Ray and Lynn are right to wait. Maybe those kids would surprise them. Maybe love doesn't hijack a wedding. Maybe it honors it. Or maybe some things really are better held quietly until the moment is right. I honestly don't know. I don't think Ray knows either. That's why he sent it to a stranger at 1 a.m. So let me ask you, if you were Emma, would you want to know? And if you were Ray, would you have walked across that floor? Tell me in the comments. I read them. I read all of them. If this one moved you, stay a while. There are more messages waiting, And every one of them is somebody real, trying to say the thing they can't say anywhere else. This has been recorded for me. I'm Michael. Thank you for listening with me. I'll see you in the next one.